Welcome back. A 38-year-old American woman involved in a boating incident on Harbor Island has died. The incident reportedly occurred around 2 p.m. on Saturday and involved a 35-foot contender vessel. Police say the woman was swimming along with a man in waters off Pink Sands Beach. When the incident occurred, the victim received serious injuries to one of her limbs, reportedly severed. The victim was taken to the local clinic, later airlifted to New Providence, where she later died. Meanwhile, on Spanish Wells, a 79-year-old woman died on Saturday after her car hit a utility pole on Leo Road. That was around 10 a.m. Officers from the traffic division here in New Providence traveling to Eleuthera to assist with investigations there. This becomes the 32nd traffic fatality for 2024. Last year, there were 51 traffic fatalities. Still on the island of Eleuthera, residents and visitors there have been hit with a combination of electricity, water, and internet failures in recent weeks. But most recently, a lack of water supply has caused residents to voice their anger, prompting a joint statement from Clay Sweeting, the Minister of Public Works and the Member of Parliament for South and Central Eleuthera, and the Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, Leon Lundy, both issuing a joint statement on Saturday in regards to the water on Eleuthera. The statement expressed the government's deep disappointment and frustration with the situation. It said the level of service provided by Aqua Design is unacceptable and does not meet the standards expected here in the Bahamas. The statement said the government will thoroughly revisit the contract arrangement with the reverse osmosis and desalination plant on Governor's Harbor, and they'll take the necessary steps to provide alternative solutions that ensure consistent and reliable water services on Eleuthera. Progressive Liberal Party National Chairman Fred Mitchell today shared his opinion on the circumstances regarding the challenges with water supplies on Eleuthera, and he did not mince his words with the private water supply company there either.
Both the government, the MP, and certainly the citizens of Eleuthera are sick and tired of the defaults and excuses of this company that supplies the water. But it also appears on the face of it that the company is unable to fulfill its obligations to the Water and Sewage Corporation and therefore to the people of Eleuthera. For the past year, my phone has been busy and my chat box filled with messages and calls, or their calls from people in Harbor Island, North, South, and Central Eleuthera about the lack of water. I'm advised that there is a poison pill in the agreement which prevents the corporation from determining the agreement and setting out on a new course which will supply reliable potable water to Eleuthera. It's time for action in Eleuthera if the water supply cannot be restored reliably and forthwith. Dynamic action. That's my advice.
Aqua Design Bahamas Limited signed a new deal to supply water to Eleuthera with the government just before the 2021 general elections. However, since coming to office, the Davis administration has expressed disappointment with the services of Aqua Design from as far back as August of 2022. And finally, at the beginning of the 2023 school year, the Davis administration launched its free breakfast program in selected primary schools, and after a successful trial run at a cost of $1 million, the government plans to expand the program. However, during the budget communication, leader of the opposition, the official opposition, Michael Pintard, was critical of the government's bragging about the program. During the wrap-up to the budget debate, Prime Minister Philip Davis, in turn, was critical of Mr. Pintard, describing his critique of the program as surprising.
I have to admit, I'm astonished. There are those who are so out of touch and out of sense that they would question the value of providing breakfast to little darlings. They left them promises during one of their previous administrations, you know. But like many of their plans, it remained in their heads.
Never executed it.
Just empty promises on paper. But Madam Speaker, we made it happen. Man, if you don't have a heart for the children who sometimes have to start their school day with empty stomachs, pangs of hunger, if you don't have a heart for their families trying to put meals on the table during a global inflation crisis, if you don't have a heart for the teachers trying to coax children who are hungry through their lessons, then at least use your head, do your research. If you do, you'll discover that school breakfast programs are considered one of the most successful interventions governments can make, with a well-recognized return on investment.
Mr. Pintar then stood on a point of order to set the record straight on the F&M's position when it comes to the school's breakfast program, suggesting that the Prime Minister is trying to mislead the public on the opposition's position.
The point I made with respect to our administration and this administration is that when politicians start patting themselves on the back for providing meals for our children, we ought to be careful. The average parent in this country would rather that we grow this economy at more than the 2% so that they themselves can be primarily responsible for feeding their children. And so that's the point I made, that if your signature program going into an election is a food program, as was ours, and your signature program is feeding our children, be careful you don't miss the boat in making sure that we grow the economy at a level where parents and families are in a position to do so. So we support the program, and I said nothing that suggests otherwise.
The government plans to expand the $1 million breakfast program to more schools and more islands when the 2024 school year begins in September. And that'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jarino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.